Back to the feature table we go. We've just seen the exit of Chess, and his seat has already been reoccupied.
None other than Peter Courtleave.
So Booker's come back to the feature table, my man Peter Courtleave. But immediately into Yaku Storm, who looks down at the big chick in diamonds, and I think he'll be raising this one. He does.
Raise. That's another 6.5, 9,000.
Now one thing you'll notice about the better players, Caitlin, is they don't limp into pots, whether it's marginal or strong. They'll come into a pot raising. So I think for those of us at home that like to limp into pots, try and avoid that. At least indicate that you're strong by raising.
I'm all in.
And Tony Silva said enough's enough. Pair of tens, he's all in. But if only he could remember what's happened to tens here.
All in.
And it's going to get cracked again, ulting over the top with aces. Wow. Poor Tony Silva.
What horrible timing he's had today. Every time he's made a move, someone's come over the top, killed it.
And even when he wasn't making a move, they're on top of him, Caitlin. The poor guy has been kicked and beaten and stood on. I mean, if they don't like his glasses, just ask them to take them off. Don't take every single penny off him.
But it is not a nuts. But now all of a sudden there's value.
Alright, so Yaku Storm again going into a verbalized
Thought
process of what exactly he's thinking now. So he's working out mathematically whether Ace Queen has a chance here and if he can pick up some money.
And all the while the red lights are flashing, waiting for another call.
Well, they're double red lights because we've got two all-in players. Somebody take somebody's clothes off and start dancing.
Say again?
I think you got the wrong kind of joint here.
Oh, yeah. So Yaku Storm, while we are making jokes, he's in a very, very, very difficult position because he's put some money in there. He is pretty short stacked. He knows that if he does get involved here and he does win this pot, he will be right back in it. But if he could see these cards, he'd be folding in a heartbeat.
His name? His name? Really?
Going over the whole hand again. How much did he raise?
7.
Poor Tony Silva. They have kicked him, hit him, smacked him. The poor man has just been taking beat after beat, and he's going to hate to see this one as well. Will Yaku Storm give it up? Eventually Yaku Storm realizes with his raise and two re-raises all in, his ace queen must be garbage. And he'll see now that how bad shape it was. Aces for ulting. And Tony Silva says, please end this nightmare. Take me to my bedroom and lock the door.
Nice answer.
What happened?
Tens against aces.
Will the tens win one pot? Both Silver and tens haven't won a pot. And there's a deadly combination between the two of them here. Now, 9-9 Jack.
No help.
Deuce, no good.
10 and only a 10 on the river will help Silver here.
Another diamond. Diamond.
10 of diamonds.
Swear ek maak myself nat.
But no luck for Silver. Unfortunately, that's the end of the tournament.
Yeah, Tony Silva, it's quite ironic that he went out with tens. Neither he nor they could win a pot. Now, Anthony, is he going to hit him again? Psiloyenis, however you say his surname, has got two overs and a flush draw. Anthony turns the straight, and it's good for Deon Anthony, and it's the end of Evro, who had ace king of clubs on a 2-club board, and Anthony, who had the straight draw, found it on the river, and he knocks out another one. And look at that stack, man.
Another all in here. We've got Keith Bishop with ace-9 and Miguel all in again with pocket 7s.
Well, it's Miguel and Deon Anthony who are just doing all the damage in the poker room.
Keith Bishop in desperate shape here, and no help from him on the river. That is the end of his All Africa tournament. Unfortunately, it's home time for him.
And Gilbert Millionero is becoming a millionero. And back to the feature table we go. Very quiet here compared to the all in action, Caitlin.
It is a lot more calm. Not so many people Does that make it easier to concentrate at the feature table, or do the cameras make it all pressurized?
I think that the feature table's got its own, it's its own complications. You know, when you're sitting here, especially as a novice, under these lights with all the cameras on you and you're mic'd up so every word is heard. Of course, it's got more pressure than what playing in your home game is, but certainly, you know, as a good poker player, you have to adjust to situations and you can't make excuses for how you play. So when you're here, you've got to adjust and you've got to play the best that you can. But Darren Kramer, very, very quiet. It's interesting.
Maybe he's waiting. He knows what's coming.
He knows what's coming. It might be a Yaku Storm all-in moment with these sevens.
Cool.
So now Nadja makes a call. Wow, that's interesting. He makes a call with 6 ha on the button. So hoping to get very lucky here, but I suppose it is a limped pot because the big blind did check, so there wasn't even a raise by Yaku. He only limped it under the gun, and it's a very ugly flop for a pair of sevens. Alti has aces and nines. Fernandez has aces and nines. Nadja has air.
Yourself, I swear I thought you shoved the one handing smooth.
Well, now these two could get all the money in here, and well, it'll be a split pot.
You haven't bet 2 nuts and shoved about 500 times the pot.
Alting's chips. Look at the size of that stack, man.
It has grown quite substantially since he sat down at the table.
I suppose those aces over the tens of Tony Silver as well as Yaku Storm's ace-queen money
Couldn't have hurt.
has really got him in the mix.
Raise up to 40,000.
Whenever I go after the tournament, I think to myself,
And Alting raises.
gone to the toilet.
So Fernandez leads out into his 2-pair,
Storm lets his sevens go with a big sigh.
and Alting pushed it up. Now, what has Nadja got to think about here? I always find this very interesting. The man has 6 ha, and he's got a lot to think about.
I don't know, yeah, it feels
Correct.
Anyway, he eventually kicks it into the muck. Now back to Fernandez. He's been popped here.
Thinking very hard.
Yeah, he's got top and bottom 2 pair. It's a very, very big hand, but he seems to be slightly concerned about the situation.
I suppose he could be putting Alting on ace-queen at the very best, but
Well, could Alting really have ace-queen? I mean, he elected to check out of the big blind, so with a limped pot, wouldn't Alting usually raise that situation from the big blind? So, what has Fernandez really giving his man that he feels he's losing to here?
This is true, yeah.
Maybe that, you know, maybe queen 9. Well, he's not losing to queen 9, but he could have queen 9 in the spot. You got a better hand.
he is pretty new to the table, so he might feel uncomfortable. He does know the players. The pressure of the lights in the feature room.
Looking at the commentary box. So Fernandez is really worried about this. Alting has got top and bottom. So has Fernandez. He came in leading to the pot. He's been raised. So what is he worried about? He has eventually made the call. Now, when the turn card comes and it's a very big bet again, what's he going to do then? Because Alting's not going to slow down here.
I'll think about that now for the last 5 minutes.
That's the only thing I can really.
The turn brings the 3. He's going to check, I'm sure. He does check.
Check. Herba? 40.
And Herba bets a 40,000, a proper bet.
40,000, huh?
40,000 is the bet. Now, if he was worried about the flop, how's he going to call 40,000 here?
But I don't think the 3 couldn't really have made a difference to anyone's hand. If they were calling on the flop with ace-queen 9, a 3 couldn't really have helped anyone.
Correct. If he called the flop, then he should feel secure about calling the turn for 40,000. But it's just the size of this bet that I'm sure has got him concerned, as well as the fact that Alting, with all those chips, could send him to the rail very quickly here. He's got Fernandez well covered in terms of stack sizes. And I don't know much about Fernandez. I mean, it's probably the first time I've seen him. So maybe he has been slightly overawed and overwhelmed by the situation. It is a very, very big question he's been asked here. Again, he must think carefully through the hand. Would not the guy raise on the big blind if he had queens or 9s or ace-queen? One of those 3 hands which is basically beating him here, you would presume the guy would raise in a limp pot in the big blind.
And usually when someone was short stacked, would they not have like shipped on the flop with top pair.
Well, I think the question is Fernandez should have put in a big raise somewhere along the line to find out exactly where he stood. And if all his money went in with top and bottom 2 pair, and that's how he went at the tournament, losing to a guy who slow played nines or queens or aces or ace queen or something, then so be it. But he shouldn't be scared of his hand, and he should put the money in here. On the flop, in fact, he should have put the money in where it was slightly cheaper.
Looking very worried for a man with 2 pair.
And as you said, Caitlin, I think the situation might just be that it's a very big question. It might be his first time at the All Africa. He doesn't want to leave. He wants to stay here. He wants to enjoy the moment. He's sitting at the feature table in the most beautiful poker room in Africa. And eventually he's made the call. So now the river brings the 10. Will Alting fire another big bullet?
Right in the first act.
Looking very nervous with his 2 pair. The 10 could have bought a couple more outs.
Well, interestingly, Alting just checked the river. Now, I think if Alting moved in the river, Fernandez would have folded it. Alting would have picked up a monster pot having the same hand. But for whatever reason, Alting just got scared in the river and let go of the hand. So after much deliberation, much concentration, a lot of nervousness, it is a chopped up pot.
Rob K asking how Fernando's heart is doing.
It's nuts, it.
I don't think that heart has felt any worse in his life than what it did in the last 5 minutes.
And into the chip count we go, and at our feature table, all in boys seem to be on top. Miguel Milero has gone up to 302,000. He's just joined the table. Darren Kramer still up at the top of the leaderboard with 208,000.
Well, here is your chip count for the tournament leaders, and there he is, Miguel Milionero with 300,000, but in front of him, Deon, Smoker Cigar, Tony Soprano, Anthony with almost 500,000. My word, how do these guys make these chips? Ray Rami, the legend, in 3rd, Faber in 5th, Kramer in 7th, Kutzer in 8th. Look at this leaderboard, none other than our previous champion, Zakem, also up there in 10th. So, well, they're all back here and they're all doing damage. How do they keep coming back, and how do they keep performing every time? It's unbelievable.
Well, it just shows the class of all the top players here at the All Africa Poker Tournament, and I'm sure they'll be back next time doing the same thing again.
And from Caitlin Fox and from me, David Daddick, see you next time.